What if everything you knew was a lie? He wakes inside a world of data, but outside, reality is cold. A girl stands alone, wielding power against an unbeatable system. Two lives intertwined. One game, two fates, no reset. Bound by code, surrounded by chaos, their fight has just begun.
Ethan's feet ached as he trudged through the fog-drenched valley. The hills around him were a patchwork of digital rock and corrupted terrain, like someone had tried to render a forest but only half finished the job. Trees flickered in and out of existence, their roots embedded in error-coded soil. It had been 2 days, at least according to the in-game time, since he and Seraphine escaped the hollow sanctum. His clothes were torn. His glitched dagger had lost its sheen and now buzzed weakly in his hand. Hunger gnawed at his stomach. There was no hunger bar in this game. When your stomach growled, it meant you really were starving. So much for escapism, Ethan muttered. Seraphine walked ahead, still as graceful as ever. Her armor looked untouched, glowing faintly like it ran on its own power. She didn't talk much anymore. Ever since the system lockdown, she'd grown distant, like she was waiting for something, or someone. "We need food," Ethan said. "Real food, not just digital nourishment code. You said this place adapts to what we believe." "Well, I believe in sandwiches," she finally turned. "Belief doesn't override the system's core mechanics. You must earn sustenance through progression." "So what? Grind boars for bread. Crumbs?" She stared at him blankly. He sighed. "Forget it." They passed a crumbling roadside sign, half sunken in the dirt. It read, "Sector 7. Civilian Refuge Zone." But the words were glitching. Lines of broken code replaced most of the text. "Do you think there's anyone else out here?" Ethan asked. "Not many make it past the first node, but some do." "Players? Survivors?" He frowned. "There's a difference?" She didn't answer. They climbed a hill. At the top, the fog broke, revealing a ruined town in the valley below. Broken streets, hollow homes, pixelated street lamps that flickered like dying fireflies. "Looks like someone's idea of a neighborhood," Ethan said. "Be cautious," Seraphine warned. "Ruins attract fragments." They descended into the town. The silence was heavy, like the buildings were holding their breath. A plastic swing moved gently in the breeze. A flickering hologram of a child's laughter played near a dead fountain. Ethan paused in front of a cracked window and saw his reflection. Unshaven, hollow-eyed, tired. For a moment, he didn't see the Nullwalker. He saw himself, just Ethan Cole, a guy who once spent most of his evenings doom-scrolling, debating if he should order takeout or just sleep. "What do you see?" Seraphine asked. "Someone who never thought he'd miss doing taxes," he muttered. They reached a corner store. Its sign was barely readable, D4 LEM4RT. But Ethan didn't care. His eyes lit up at the dusty aisles. "Please," he whispered, stepping in. "Let there be something." Rows of shelves held glitching boxes of cereal, broken soda cans, and faded snack wrappers. His heart dropped. Then, tucked behind a fallen shelf, he saw it. Energy bar, outdated item, +10 health, +1 morale. He grabbed it without hesitation and tore it open. It tasted like sawdust and nostalgia. Seraphine watched, amused. "You've eaten simulated food before?" she asked. "No," he said through a mouthful. "But this tastes like every vending machine snack I ever had in high school, which is to say, awful. But I'll take it." They continued exploring. As they entered the old community center, they found a strange sight. Chalkboards filled with drawings, stick figures, names, messages like, "We made it here," and "Don't trust the voice." "Who wrote these?" Ethan whispered. "Others. Before you." He walked to a message scrawled in red marker. "If you can read this, the real world is gone." His stomach turned. Seraphine stepped beside him. "Some players believe this world overwrote their minds. That returning was impossible. Are they wrong?" She didn't answer. A door creaked open behind them. Ethan turned, weapon ready. A girl stood in the doorway. Teenager. Dirty hoodie. Barefoot. Her eyes were sharp, not just with fear, but experience. "You're real?" she asked. Ethan lowered his dagger. "We could ask you the same." She stepped closer. Name's Sky. Been here 3 weeks. You survived this long alone? Seraphine asked. I'm not alone, Sky said, and pointed to the back room. Inside were 3 others, an older man with a broken arm, a young couple, and a boy barely 10. We formed a group, she explained. Tried to set up a base, but the system keeps changing the rules. Every time we get something working, a storm resets the zone. Why not leave? Ethan asked. Where? Out there? Sky gestured to the window. You think I haven't tried? Ethan nodded slowly. We're headed to the origin node. There's a chance it can fix things. Fix? Sky's laugh was dry. You sound like the last guy. He said the same thing, that we could escape. You know what happened to him? Ethan swallowed. He died? Worse. The system consumed him, turned him into one of the patrols. Now he guards the node he once tried to reach. Silence fell. Why are you telling us this? Seraphine asked. Because if you're really going, take me with you. Ethan hesitated. We're barely surviving as it is. I can fight, Sky said. And I know the short paths through the terrain. You'll need me. He looked to Seraphine, who gave the faintest nod. All right, Ethan said. You're in. Sky smiled faintly. You won't regret it. That night, they made camp in the center. Ethan sat near a glitching heater, trying to rest. He thought about his old life again. All the nights he'd stared at a ceiling, wondering if he'd ever do anything meaningful, if he'd ever be more than a name on a payroll. Now he was fighting monsters, building alliances, leading people. He didn't know if it meant anything yet, but at least he wasn't asleep anymore. Across the room, Sky watched him. You really believe there's a way out of this? She asked. I don't know, he said honestly. But I'm going to find out. Because back there, in the real world, I was just existing. Here. At least I'm alive. Sky nodded slowly. Then I'll follow you. At least until the next storm. And somewhere deep in the system, a line of corrupted, code pulsed red. A watcher had noticed them. The game was changing again.